Coming up from AirVenture in Oshkosh, ATC privatization, the battle is still on and pilots aren't happy.
After 50 years of flying, I know aviation. Lobbyists want to privatize air traffic control, handing control to the largest airlines.
But one very happy pilot meets his new airplane for the first time, and a revolution in avionics. Much more capability for a lot less.
And a step back in time with the help of master craftsmen. AOPA Live this week from AirVenture 2017 begins in just a moment.
Build and flying with the Sonex aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at sonexaircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Redinger.
The roar of the jets, the snarl of the props, the smell of the brats. It's AirVenture, baby.
And general aviation pilots and enthusiasts are streaming in the thousands upon thousands. By Monday afternoon, Whitman Field at Oshkosh was full. No more rooms for airplanes or campers.
So plenty of excitement and enthusiasm for the kind of personal flying freedom that you have only in the United States. But looming over all of this good aviation stuff is the threat of an airline-run air traffic control system. The legislation that would transfer ATC to an airline-controlled private company is still very much alive in the House. And so the cry went out the moment the gates opened. Several thousand pilots filled EA's Theater in the Woods on Monday. And for this group, ATC privatization threatens something very dear.
There's scenarios out there with a privatized ATC system that would easily, very plausible, would allow this event to be shut down. Because as you know, we're already paying for our control tower, but that was due to funding issues and sequestration. But if you go to a full privatized system, I don't know any entity that would come in here, operate this tower with 85 qualified controllers when they have to continue to operate other towers. And if we don't get up and start making our voices heard very, very loud, this will be the most devastating thing that could happen to AirVenture.
And that's all because the big airlines want control of air traffic control. They've been trying to do that for some 25 years.
They want to run it for their benefit and everybody else's detriment. It was 25 years ago the airlines were trying to seize control of the air traffic system. And among those they were trying to seize it from were these low-cost startup airlines. They wanted to put them out of business. The airlines literally want to run the FAA for their benefit and everybody else's detriment. 25 years later, that's still true.
Transportation is what makes this country great. That infrastructure is something that we need to preserve, and air traffic control is an integral part of making the commerce in this nation happen. And we have to defend it to our dying breath.
And for 25 years, the airlines have been spinning the same myths.
A couple of three myths that I think have been perpetuated by this group, call it the airlines, but about things in aviation that just aren't true. You know, we've been using GPS for 17, 18 years in general aviation, business aviation, and they keep saying that we're running with World War II radar. We have radar that was invented in World War II, but we all know it's a lot different radar, and the Department of Defense still wants radar to protect us and our sovereignty in this world. So it's not something we want to give up, radar. We don't want to give up our access to this airspace, and making sure that what they perpetuate of myths are really hurting this effort. We know every day we're talking to congressmen around the country, and they continue to say things that just aren't true. The delays in the airlines are not related to the system. It's related to high concentration of traffic in the Northeast Corridor and the thing that we call weather. So we need this community to come together and really stand tall, communicate over and over and over in this long-term fight about the things that just aren't true. We have a great system. We got to protect this freedom to fly.
And then Mark dashed off the stage to fly back to Washington along with Ed Bolin and Pete Bunce. With a vote on H.R. 2997 still on the table, there was more lobbying to do. As they say in diplomatic speak, they had a frank discussions with members of the GA caucus. Mark reiterated that nobody in general aviation wants a privatized system. Representative Steve Russell of Oklahoma expressed national security concerns with the private ATC, and Representative Ralph Abraham from Louisiana said the current system works well and that the FAA should continue modernization. Mark Baker has just landed back here in Oshkosh from Washington. So Mark, how'd it go and what's the current mood on the Hill regarding privatization?
Well, it went pretty well. It went pretty well means there's no vote yet today. That's the best news we're going to hear from day by day by day. Right now it appears that the vote that they're going to ask for will now occur probably in September if they get that far. So far, our general aviation community has hung together and pushed it back and pushed it back and pushed it back, but we got a long way to go.
Right. So what's the best that we can hope from? Say maybe it doesn't happen until September, or can we push it back further? What's next?
Yeah, it's going to be a daily fight when we get to September. Will we be, communicating to our members and the members of the communication of all of aviation saying it's time to keep calling, keep writing those letters, because it could go between now and the end of the year. There will be every attempt by the airlines and this group to get this done. They're not done yet. But so far, neither are we, and our group is hanging tough.
All right, thanks, Mark. Mark says he's talked to pilots across the country, hasn't even found one who wants a privatized air traffic control system. And that's what our Jennifer Nahn discovered when we sent her out to talk to pilots here at AirVenture.
Matt Zafarian and his wife Shelby are both pilots. They're from Reno, Nevada, where a roll of the dice is pretty much the norm. But for them, privatization of air traffic control is too big a gamble.
General aviation in this country represents what I think is one of the greatest freedoms that an average person can experience. So anything that puts a restriction on that feeling, puts a restriction on that freedom to experience that or limits it in any way, to me that's a big loss.
No matter which flag you fly, user fees are a sensitive issue. Others from around the planet have seen the damage they can do. Barbara Parrish is from Australia. She also worked for their air traffic control agency for years.
It's completely different now that the airports have been privatised. In the old days, the major airports were not privatised. So as a general aviation pilot, you could come in, you could land there, you could drop off passengers, you could park your aircraft overnight for as long as you wanted. No problem. It was fully accessible.
Others are more emphatic.
Flying in Europe as a whole is a bit really restrictive compared to North America. We even have to pay a landing fee even if we just touch the wheels and then take off again.
And nobody here wants that. In fact, America's air traffic control system is the busiest and most efficient in the world. And many say, why mess with a good thing?
We don't know what's going to happen in America. I understand your general aviation is in trouble. It could completely change. Commercial interests might take a hold in the new ATC privatised company and push their own interests rather than the interests of pilots and passengers, of course. Not just pilots who are going to be affected, it's the passengers as well. It's unnecessary. I can't see why you'd really want to give away an essential service.
The U.S. is such a wonderful place to fly. I have friends from Europe who come here to vacation just to fly their airplanes because getting around Europe is such a nightmare. I tell the administration that user fees and private ATC just doesn't work. It's totally the wrong approach.
Jennifer Nahn, AOPA Live.
If you're here in Oshkosh, you can add your name to the petition opposing air traffic privatization. It's here in our tent. You can bet we'll send it to Congress.
And if there's a pilot who knows a thing or two about flying in the system, it's Captain Sully Sullenberger.
After 50 years of flying, I know aviation. Lobbyists want to privatize air traffic control, handing control to the largest airlines, giving them the keys to the kingdom. We can't trust the people who make your airline seats smaller to run ATC. This would allow a corporate monopoly to make decisions that put profits ahead of safety and would devastate rural communities. Say no to air traffic control privatization, a threat to our nation's security, safety, access, and basic fairness.
And that's a commercial you can find on the website ATC Not For Sale. Please share that on your social media and with all your friends. And most importantly, call your congressman. We've made that easy for you. Go to aopa.org/takeaction. Enter your cell phone number and you'll be connected directly to the right office.
And we can't tell you enough how important it is to do that. H.R. 2997, the ATC privatization bill, could still pass unless Congress hears from each and every one of you. We've already swung some congressmen around. Your recalls can really do the work now.
Okay, now to some happier stuff. Imagine coming to Oshkosh for the first time and leaving with a new airplane. You'll probably remember Gary Walters from last week's show. He won the AOPA Cessna Sweepstakes 172. We surprised him in Las Vegas last week. This week, he made his first trip ever to Oshkosh to see his new machine.
Oh, I love it.
Stand out in the crowd
Oh, absolutely. Look at that. I mean, brand new. I mean, wow. I am.
Would you like a tour of some of the exterior stuff before
Absolutely.
we jump inside?
Absolutely.
All right,
You're the tour guide. I've been reading about the wingtips and the new LED lights.
Yeah, so
and
here are your new LED lights. And let me tell you, they are bright. You will definitely
so instead of one landing light, now you got the.
Yes. Of course, your wonderful paint scheme from Scheme Designers and KD Aviation.
A+, A+.
We used to have it all solid gray.
Yep.
That's kind of hard to see from the sky, so we came up with a really nice eye-catching
I love it.
Design for you.
I love it.
And let's see.
Vortex generators.
Yep, there's your vortex generators.
New and improved.
Glass from LP
Yep, read that 10 to 30% cooler.
Absolutely. You are going to really like that. In Nevada, you are really
Absolutely. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful.
What do you think?
Absolutely beautiful. I've been reading all about it. VSI.
That is
Last aircraft I flew had a VSI indicator. Was a West Wind, 1124 West Wind.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just it's indescribable. It's beyond. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, you saw my emotions coming over, and just looking at it, and I can't wait to go fly. A++. I mean, to all the work. All the hard labor that's been put into here.
Congrats to Gary. He's an airline pilot, and we are working to help him find a CFI to help him get back to his GA roots and checked out in the 172. Gary plans to fly a lot in that airplane.
And he is so excited. Like, this guy is walking 6 feet off the ground and going around talking to everybody. He's a super winner. We're really happy for him. Hey, we're sorry you didn't win the 172, but if you're an AOPA member, you're already entered to win this dream machine. A stand-in is on display this week, and it's attracting a lot of members. The actual airplane is undergoing a complete restoration at Baker Aviation in Montana. The winner will get the airplane with hydraulic skis, tundra tires, and amphibious floats. Learn more on our websites.
Yes, Virginia, there is a pilot shortage, and technicians as well, for that matter. Here at Oshkosh, Boeing released its 20-year outlook for both pilots and technicians, and to say it's high is definitely an understatement. The aircraft manufacturer bases its findings on customer surveys and the demand for new aircraft. The global growth is largely driven by increased income, which enables more people to fly commercially, especially in Asia. Boeing says the number of commercial aircraft will increase some 43% over the next 20 years. To support that growth rate, the world will need about 637,000 new commercial airline pilots.
I've never seen a dip and an opportunity for a rise like this in the past. Certainly you want to make sure you have your science education, understand math, understand science. Get out there, get on the internet, look around. We've got websites. AOPA has websites. EAA has websites. There's lots of opportunities there.
Equally important is the need for technicians, especially in avionics and composites. Cabin crew members will also be needed to support the new and much larger commercial jets.
So these are just staggering numbers. We're talking not tens or hundreds, we're talking hundreds of thousands of new demand that's being in the marketplace.
All this, of course, is leading to more pipeline programs and partnerships trying to drive interest in pilot and technician careers, which should also allow for more seamless pilot career transitions and, yes, increased salaries.
Of course, paying for professional flight training can be a barrier for some. The AOPA Foundation is proud to be able to help another young pilot get started. Thankfully, some of his mentors insisted he make the trip from Minnesota down to Oshkosh with them this year.
I almost wasn't able to come, but Drew kept saying I need to come, dress nice. That's a big surprise and everything.
That's right. Thanks to the persistence of his many mentors and friends, 18-year-old Chase Harding was greeted by AOPA President Mark Baker, who had a nice surprise to share with him.
We happen to have a check made out to you, Chase, for $5,000. to get you started flying. What do you think?
Thank you.
Chase wrote one heck of an application, and you could just kind of tell that the scholarship will make a great difference for him. His mentors confirmed that in their recommendations in our conversations with them. We think we found somebody who will really benefit from this award.
If you want to fly, you'll find a way. Whatever kind of work it is, whatever things you have to do, people will find a way. And that's what we're trying to do, is create that little spark.
So what does this young man plan to do with the scholarship?
Well, right now plans go down to Mankato for a semester and study in aviation and eventually end up going commercial.
We certainly wish him the best and look forward to seeing him filling one of those new pilot positions in the years to come. Well, that's nice to see.
I love seeing those scholarships.
Right. Yeah, the kids, he's going to put that to good use, I'm sure, and it's really nice when you got all these pilot shortage anyhow to have somebody coming into one of those seats. Hey, when we come back, a revolution in avionics.
And crafting history. AOPA Live this week from AirVenture continues in just a moment.
Brightly, instruments for professionals.
Welcome back to AirVenture. AOPA's You Can Fly initiative is making great progress on 4 very focused initiatives aimed at engaging members and growing the pilot population.
It starts with field testing on our 9th grade curriculum, which starts in nearly 30 schools this fall. There were 23 flight training scholarships awarded to high school students this year. 12 boys, 11 girls got $5,000 each to continue their flying. AOPA is also planning and expanding its 3rd high school STEM symposium for teachers and administrators to be held this November in Fort Worth. There are 20 brand new flying clubs this year, and all of our resources and online information for clubs are being rewritten. And Rusty pilots?
We'll see more than 7,500 people at our seminars this year. Our true measurement of success for this initiative, though, is how many people are actually not just attending the seminars, but actually completing the flying portion of the flight review and getting back in the left seat, and that's what we'll measure. We'll see at least 30% of those people who attend get back in the left seat. So that's where we're headed.
Of course, we cannot do this work without the support of the AOPA Foundation. We had another anonymous donor match $1 million we raised to help with these programs. So we are very thankful to donors like him and others who support these very important initiatives.
There are 8 pilots with a brand new set of wings, and they overcame a lot to earn them. Able Flight is a program that gives people with disabilities sport pilot training. Each year in Oshkosh, the graduates earn their wings in a ceremony. Retired Army Captain Ferris Butler is a wounded warrior, and he earned his wings this week. He says Able Flight goes to show that a good life can really begin after a catastrophic injury.
To become injured in the military and then have an outlet to keep pursuing your dreams post my military service, it's just been a phenomenal achievement in my life, you know, and then to get my wings pinned on at AirVenture in the summertime after being able to fly twice a day, you know, for 6 straight weeks is, you know, it's incredible.
Aerobatic legend Patty Wagstaff and wounded warrior pilot Adam Kashevsky were among those on hand to pin the wings on the new sport pilot.
Another big issue talked about here at AirVenture is the upcoming ADS-B out mandate. We're doing a series of seminars here on the fast approaching 2020 deadline.
And we have to have this by January 1st of 2020 to be able to fly in what we call rural airspace. That airspace, as many of us are getting educated on that, is really Class B airspace, Mode C Vale, Class C airspace, above 10,000 feet in Class E airspace. So a lot of different areas that we fly in routinely that we need to be cognizant of if we're going to want to continue to fly in that airspace.
We have a wealth of information on our website to help you find your way to what you'll need in your airplane.
And there are an increasing number of ways to meet the mandate. The cost of ADS-B out devices is dropping, but installation costs can still add up quickly. Avionics has a unique solution. The new Sky Beacon. The clever design replaces one of the position lights, greatly simplifying installation.
You don't need to drill a hole in the bottom of your airplane anymore, or at the top, or mount things inside your panel or anything like that. This will do it, you know, comprehensively with almost zero installation costs.
Sky Beacon has a pending STC of installation on hundreds of aircraft makes and models. Once certified, the company says Sky Beacon will meet the requirements for the 2020 ADS-B mandate. and the cost will be around $1,000.
And here's another ADS-B out solution for light sport and experimental aircraft. This is the Beacon from Level Technologies. It's fully enclosed 978 megahertz universal access transceiver. It's a fully integrated circuit board, altimeter encoder, WASH GPS, and wireless sniffer for transponder code. The unit sells for a little under $1,900. Dynon Avionics is well known for its innovative equipment in experimental aircraft. And now they're going to make their non-TSO'd avionics for certified airplanes, starting with the flagship Skyview HDX. It's a touchscreen suite that includes a primary flight display with synthetic vision and angle of attack, a multi-function display with a color-moving map, ADS-B, and more. In a clear break from industry practice, Dynon says it will sell the Skyview HDX for FAA-certified aircraft for the same price as experimental versions.
We're all about the affordability. That's a huge part of the equation, and we wouldn't be doing this certified effort if we didn't think we could do that the same way for type certificated aircraft.
Dynon wants to offer the Skyview HDX system in aircraft ranging from single-engine piston trainers to high-performance twins. They say the first STCs will be for Cessna 172s and Beechcraft B-58 Barons, and they're expected soon.
And this really is a revolution in general aviation. The flood of high-tech, affordable avionics from the experimental market making their way into certified airplanes. AOPA Editor-at-Large Dave Hirschman has the story of a manufacturer that now offers a non-TSO panel in a certified airplane.
The Cub Crafters X-Cub is a brash new arrival in the backcountry, and it's breaking new ground as the first FAA-certified airplane with a Garmin G3X and an autopilot from the experimental market.
It's a breakthrough in terms of the feature set that you get, the value that it represents, and ultimately the safety.
The touchscreen G3X is an all-in-one box that provides safety enhancements such as terrain and traffic warnings, in-cockpit weather, and synthetic vision. It also includes a one-touch level button, and all this technology comes at a much more affordable price.
A certified or TSO'd suite will normally cost about 5 times what you can get in an experimental suite.
It's the first time the FAA has ever allowed a non-TSO avionics suite as the primary instrumentation on a standard category airplane. And Garmin didn't get that FAA approval, Cub Crafters did.
Represents the first example of the FAA's risk-based certification approach.
The impact of this change will reach far beyond Cub Crafters. The small company has created a roadmap for getting safety-enhancing, innovative, and economical non-TSO avionics into standard category airplanes.
At the end of the day, again, it's just a way better product. The value's tremendous, it's safer, and we think it's just going to help GA altogether. I hope other manufacturers do follow suit.
Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
The G3X will be available on new 2018 X-Cubs. Dave Hirschman joins us now. So, Dave, why is this so significant?
It's really important because it's much bigger than Cub Crafters. This is the first of this modern, economical, 21st century experimental avionics to reach the general aviation standard category fleet, but it won't be the last because Cub Crafters has created a pathway by which other manufacturers can get similar avionics into standard category airplanes.
So Dave, what's it like to fly the G3X Touch?
Oh, it's a fantastic piece of equipment, and it gives you weather, traffic, terrain, and it vastly enhances your situational awareness, and it does everything that something like a high-end G1000 would do. But it's much easier to use, and it's a much, much lower price point.
Wow, sounds fascinating. We're in a really interesting time right now with all these non-TSO'd avionics becoming available. It's fun to follow. Bob Hoover was the greatest stick and rudder pilot that ever lived, according to Jimmy Doolittle. The iconic aviator passed away last year. At AirVenture, hundreds gathered to remember the Southern gentleman aviator.
He was just such an outstanding person, and the thing I appreciate about Bob is that not only his flying, which I really appreciate, but what a gentleman.
Clay Lacey and Sean D. Tucker joined moderator David Hartman on stage at the Theater in the Woods to remember Hoover. There was also a flying tribute to him during the air show.
And finally, SPAD, Sopwith Camel, Fokker Drydecker, all famous aircraft from World War I. And there's yet another one here on display at AirVenture, the first fighter to fly for the French Army.
The Morin-Saunier Type L was the first fighter with a machine gun firing through the propeller. This restoration you're looking at was a labor of love by French artisans from France's modern aerospace industry. There's more from AOPA pilot editor-at-large Tom Horn.
The Morin-Saunier Type L restoration you're seeing at AirVenture is quite a labor of love. Using engineering drawings from 1913, the first year for the Type L, a group of dedicated Morin-Saunier, Socata, and Daher retirees began work on the project 6 years ago. During our visit to Tarbes, France in 2016, Daniel Bakou took us to look at some of the work in progress at a nearby office park.
We are an association of Morin-Saunier, very famous French manufacturer, more than a century of history. So we decided to rebuild this one, which is a Morin-Saunier Type L. So this one was the first one used in French Army in the First World War in 1915, and its first victory with just one pilot that used a machine gun on this aircraft, and that was really the beginning of, let's say, the Air Force. You know, the thing is that we don't need to have too much people. Let's say it's between 10 and 15 people. And that's amazing because these guys, they spend 30, 40 years in a factory. They never built a wooden aircraft. In fact, they are a little bit, they are learning as if they are at school. They have the skill, they have the knowledge how to, but not with the wood. That's new. That's amazing.
Some of the work reflects the very old-school techniques used to build the Type L when it was new. You can see the care and attention to detail that's being put into this unique airplane. Everything's been done to duplicate the airplane as it was. Although the Type L served primarily as a reconnaissance airplane in the Marne campaign in the early years of World War I, it did come equipped with a machine gun. A single-barrel, 8mm British Hotchkiss design that could be fired through the rotating propeller disc. According to Daher, the Type L was the first such design to be able to do this. And look, wing warping instead of ailerons. But in the interest of safety, some concessions are being made to the design. The airframe, particularly the landing gear, is beefed up, and the original Gnome rotary engine has been replaced with a more modern Rotec R2800 radial engine adapted especially for this replica. In all, it's quite a tribute to the earliest days of military aviation and a phenomenal replica. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.
Wow, that is pretty spectacular. Can you imagine those guys having to go back and learn to work with wood after all these years of working on metal airplanes?
I actually can't, but I bet it was challenging but rewarding.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Something else. Hey, this is only the first of 3 shows from AirVenture. Tomorrow, rocketing around Oshkosh and the debut of a new very light jet.
We hope to see you again for the second of our special editions of AOPA Live this week from AirVenture.
Meet the pilots who fly with AOPA Insurance. They love flying and saving money, just like you. At AOPA Insurance, we understand how you fly and provide the coverage you need to keep on flying. Call for a free quote and see which AOPA insurance plan is right for you.